Welcome back to another episode of So You Tried to Kill Yourself, Now What? I'm Olivia Catherine, and again, I find myself starting this episode by saying, wow. Since recording episode 2, the outpouring of love and the feedback and the stories that have been shared with me have absolutely left me speechless yet again. I have been told that this podcast is being referred to teaching professionals as a resource for their young people, and I can't even put into words how humbling that is. I've had people I know, people I never suspected reach out to me, and what's even more incredible is I've had people I don't know at all share their stories, their thoughts, and their encouragement. Also, there are already ratings on the podcast. I am shook. And I just have to share this comment with you because it genuinely moved me so deeply. It said, "Your dedication to this community is truly inspiring. We need more advocates like you, and I can't think of anyone more deserving to represent us all. Your strength and passion light the way for every survivor, reminding us that together we can overcome anything. Keep shining, LB." And to you, yeah, you, I'm talking to you, the person that's tuning in and showing up for themselves, that is everything. Thank you for being here today. And remember, your story isn't over. Before we dive in today, I feel the need to provide some disclaimers. I would like to say that I am not a licensed medical or mental health professional. I am a child and youth care worker and survivor. The tools that I share with you are based off of my own personal experiences, things that have worked for me, and the young people that I service. So please, if you're seeking tailored advice or medications, I urge you to consult a licensed professional. And if you or someone you know is thinking about suicide, please reach out for help. In Canada and the US, you can call or text 988. That is 988. It is available 24/7. You don't have to navigate this alone. So let's talk about what's new around here. So You Tried Now What is officially branded. We have snatched up all the major social handles. We've even secured the domain, soyoutriednowwhat.com, and we're making moves to expand this platform in every way possible. I am also beyond thrilled to announce the official launch of the Rewrite Collective. This is our Facebook group, a safe space where we can connect, share, and grow. This is my way of giving back to the community and creating a space that our conversations can continue to flourish in. The Rewrite Collective officially launches today with the release of this episode. You could find the link to join in the podcast bio. And stay tuned because our website is coming soon. This episode is all about the tools that have helped me rebuild my life. These aren't just things I've read about in books or heard about in passing. No, these are practices that genuinely make a difference for me daily, and it's my hope that they might for you too. And remember, rebuilding your life is not about perfection. It's about progress, and it's about packing your kit. And one more thing. With the launch of this episode, So You Tried Now What is launching a social media campaign. I want to introduce you to The Packet Project. This is about empowering you to identify, build, and use your personal mental health toolkits to navigate life's challenges with resilience, self-awareness, and strength. This campaign is based around and promotes intentional self-care, and it's working to destigmatize the tools that we all need to thrive emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. For more information about the Pack Your Kit campaign, please check out our social media, So You Tried Now What, on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so I think that's enough housekeeping. I think it's time that we get right into the episode. So let's dive even deeper into the harmful misconception that mental health is something you fix, like a broken appliance. We need to challenge the idea that just one therapy session, one medication, or just one breakthrough can cure you. It's not like flipping a light switch. Mental health is a journey, a lifelong one. And the truth is, most of the world doesn't know how to handle it, and that's why we don't talk about it. It's easier to push it under the rug, to pretend it's not there, than to face it head on. This is true for suicide attempts too. After an attempt, society wants to believe it's a one-time thing, but it's not. Those thoughts can come back, and they will come back. And when they do, having tools in your mental health toolbox can mean the difference between staying stuck and moving forward. It could even be the difference between giving up and staying alive one more day. This episode is truly about building your toolbox, and we're going to talk about what it is, why you need it, and some of the tools that can make a difference in your life. So you're probably thinking, Olivia, what is a mental health toolbox? Well, I want you to think about it like this, okay? You're building your own survival kit. Imagine a real toolbox. Each tool serves a purpose. You might not need every tool every day, but having them ready when you do need them, now that's empowering. And your mental health toolbox works the same way. It's a collection of tools, practices, resources, and skills that you can use to navigate life's challenges. Think of it like this. You can have a hammer for breaking through emotions, a level for grounding yourself in balance, and even a flashlight for finding clarity in the dark moments. These tools also might include things like gratitude, mindfulness, therapy, or even community. And the point about it is that you get to customize it, okay? You get to pack it with whatever works for you. And doesn't that just sound empowering? Having a mental health toolbox gives you a sense of control. And it's empowering to know you have something to reach for when things get hard. Speaking of hard, instead of reacting to stress or pain in the moment, this toolbox will provide proactive coping by providing you with the tools that you've already built at your fingertips. And just one thing before we continue. Having these tools does not mean you'll never face challenges, okay? It just means you'll have the strength to get through them, because with each setback, you're building resilience. Now you're probably thinking, well, that's great, but what do I put in it? Excellent question. And I think it's time we dig deeper into the specific tools that you can pack into your toolbox. Starting with my personal favorite, gratitude practice. Gratitude is not just about big life-changing things, okay? It's about finding light in even the smallest of moments. At my lowest, gratitude is the only thing that can really shift my mindset. On some days, it's as simple as saying, I'm grateful for this cup of coffee. This is something that you have to put practice in every single day. But over time, those small wins, they will snowball into a bigger sense of appreciation for life. So today, I challenge you to start small. Write down just one thing you're grateful for, right now, whether it be in your notes app on your phone or on a piece of paper. And then, I want you to continue to write one thing down every day until we see each other again. And then I want you to reflect on how you feel. Next, an often overlooked tool, mindfulness. Mindfulness is really about being fully present in the moment. It's not about ignoring your problems, but giving yourself space to process them without becoming overwhelmed. Mindfulness is a game changer for me, especially during those darkest moments. It gives me something to focus on when my thoughts feel like a hurricane. My favorite exercise is the 5-4-3-2-1 method. And you know what? I think we should actually do it right now together. So get comfy in your chair, okay? Are you ready? Right where you are right now, I would like you to identify 5 things you can see. Now, identify 4 things that you can touch. How about you identify 3 things that you can hear? And now, 2 things that you can smell. And lastly, identify 1 thing that you can taste. This grounding exercise can really help you regain control when you're spiraling. Now, you're probably not spiraling right now. However, you have just been transported to the present moment. Welcome, we have cookies. Next, journaling. You're probably rolling your eyes right now, but it's true what they say. Writing down your thoughts and emotions can be therapeutic and healing. Journaling wasn't always easy for me, however. Growing up, my journals were always being invaded, and I was punished for expressing myself. It took a lot of work, but now journaling has become a safe space to just process emotions or even just practice gratitude. If you're looking to journal today, here's a prompt that you can try. What's one thing you're proud of today? Or better yet, what's one thing I'm feeling and why? Okay. We've talked about journaling. Now let's chat about therapy. But what is therapy? Well, therapy is a treatment intended to relieve or heal any kind of disorder. And disclaimer, therapy is not one size fits all. It's about finding the right type for you. And before you argue, there are so many different types of therapies. For me, traditional talk therapy just was not effective. but DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, changed my life. It gave me actionable skills that I continue to use every single day. So if you're looking for some options, here are some things you can explore. There's also CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. This is similar to the self-coaching model, and you learn how your thoughts affect your feelings, which result in your actions. It's very empowering. And there's also music or art therapy, because let's be honest, creative outlets enhance cognitive function and it nurtures your emotional health. Also, being creative, it provides you a sense of purpose. And then there's group therapy, because sometimes groups are better and less scary than one-to-one. And like I said, we have my favorite, so there's DBT skills. There are skills like TIP, radical acceptance, and opposite action, just to name a few. This is why it's so important to do your own research and to contact those licensed professionals, because honestly, their referrals can make a world of a difference in the process. And of course, there are also medications and supplements that you can take, because let's be honest, our bodies and brains sometimes need that extra level of support. So many people don't believe this, but medication can stabilize your mental health enough for you to do the hard work of healing. But that's if you're willing to do the hard work, that is. The truth is, it took me 7 years of trial and error to find the right combination of meds for me. But I want to stress one thing. Medication does not fix you. It supports you. And the same goes with supplements. Yes, it's true, babe. Holistic supplements can play a big role in your healing journey. While I'm not going to recommend specific products, I can say that gut health and mental health are connected in powerful ways, and it'd be wise to do some research. And speaking of holistic, there is nothing more holistic than engaging in physical activity. And for me, that's walking. Walking, or any physical movement rather, it has been a core part of my toolbox for literally as long as I can remember. Walking saved my life, and as an adult, I walk approximately 5 kilometers a day. And whether it's a walk through the forest or just around the block, movement has always been a way for me to just release stress and reset. Walking is also a great way to be in the moment. And lastly, there's a tool that's close to my heart: community. Studies show that finding or creating a community where you feel seen and heard can add years to your life. And the truth is, people need people, especially now more than ever. And that's why I started the Rewrite Collective. And just setting up the community has been life-changing for me. It's given me a sense of purpose and connection that I never thought I'd have. And it reminds me that mental health matters. So if you're looking for a community like this, join the Rewrite Collective. It's a space where we can share support and grow together. Well, let me just point out the obvious now. These tools won't magically fix everything, okay? They sound amazing, but they will not magically fix everything. However, they will give you a starting point. And on that note, I think it's time that we dive into those actionable steps that you can take today to start building your own mental health toolbox to be a part of the #PackYourKit campaign. So let's start with an important truth. Healing is deeply personal, and that's true for any kind of healing. Because what works for one person may not work for another, and that's completely okay. It's a part of our individuality. Healing is not about finding a quick fix or following a one-size-fits-all solution. It's about exploring, experimenting, and discovering what helps you and sometimes what causes more harm. For me, this journey hasn't been linear or easy. It's taken me 5 years since my last attempt to truly fall in love with the process of healing, to fall in love with my life, to just fall in love with myself. And let me be real with you, it's been fucking hard. There were relapses, there were days I leaned on substances to cope, there were moments where I thought I wasn't even making progress at all. And yet, here I am. And what I've learned is that over time, by repeating the simple steps over and over and over again, those steps really became habits. And those habits, that's what changed my life. Because they became the foundation of my mental health toolbox. And I promise you that you can start building yours too. Because I believe in the power of equipping ourselves with the tools that support our mental health. And that's where the concept of this toolbox comes in. It's not just a cute idea, it's a necessity. A toolbox is where you store the strategies, practices, and supports that help you navigate life's ups and downs. It's personal, it's adaptable, and also it's powerful. And that's why we're starting the Pack Your Kit campaign. Because it's more than just a hashtag, it's a call to action. It's about taking control of your mental health journey one tool at a time. So if you're looking for inspo or guidance on where to start, I invite you to join our community. Check out So You Tried Now What on Facebook and Instagram. These spaces are dedicated to sharing resources, stories, and support to help you build your own toolbox. And let's get real for a second. Some of you might be listening to this episode on a really hard day. You might feel overwhelmed, stuck, or like nothing is ever going to get better. And if that's where you are right now, I want you to know this. It's okay to start small. Small steps still move you forward. Building your mental health toolbox doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't have to. Start where you are and take it one step at a time. So here are a few simple steps you can try today, even if you're having a tough time. Just start with one practice. You don't need to overhaul your entire life in one day. Just start small. Try gratitude journaling. Write down one thing, just one, that you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be big or profound. Maybe it's the fact you got out of bed. Maybe the sun is shining today. At my lowest, gratitude wasn't about big life-changing realizations. It was about finding that tiny thing that made my day a little more brighter, a little more bearable. And sometimes that was just enough to keep me going. And it's encouraged to experiment with mindfulness. Don't be afraid of trying new things. Mindfulness doesn't have to mean meditating for an hour or sitting cross-legged on a yoga mat. It's about being present in the moment and reducing the overwhelm. Mindfulness continues to save me during some of my darkest moments because it forces me to focus on the now, rather than spiraling into the past or the future. So next time you feel like you're spiraling, I encourage you to give it a try. You can also add journaling. Journaling is a tool that I resisted for a long time. And truthfully, growing up, my parents always read my journals, and it made writing feel so unsafe. But eventually I was able to rediscover it, and it became a lifeline. Journaling doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to write pages and pages. Just start with simple prompts like, what's one thing I'm proud of today? And what's one thing I'm feeling and why? Putting your thoughts on paper can be extremely cathartic, even if it's just a few sentences. You can also research therapy or support groups. Don't forget, though, what works for one person may not work for you, and that's okay. So for me, talk therapy wasn't effective because I didn't need to unpack the why behind my feelings. I needed the tools to move forward. And that's where options like CBT, DBT, or even art and music therapies can come in. So if traditional therapy feels intimidating, I honestly urge you to consider looking into support groups. Sometimes just being in a room or virtual space with people who get it can make all the difference. And there is the option of exploring medications or supplements. Medication played a critical role in stabilizing me, just enough to start healing, but it wasn't a magic fix. It took time to find the right combination, and there were plenty of trial and error moments along the way. Supplements also supported my journey, but remember, always consult a healthcare professional before starting anything new. And one of the most powerful tools in my toolbox personally is community. So it is good to add one to yours as well. When I couldn't find a space where I belonged, I created one. Connection is healing. Whether it's joining a support group, participating in online spaces like the Rewrite Collective, or simply talking to a trusted friend, community can remind you that you're not alone. I want to leave you with this today. What's one tool you're curious to try this week? Think about it, write it down, and start small, because every step, no matter how tiny, matters. And remember, building your mental health toolbox is a journey, not a destination. It's about finding what works for you and showing up for yourself, even on the hard days. Just by listening to this episode, you've already taken a step forward in packing your kit. Now, I'd like to wrap up with some affirmations and a little bit of gratitude. Plus, I'll give you a sneak peek into next week's episode, Finding Happiness Again. Before we wrap up today's episode, I want to take a moment to thank you. Thank you for tuning in. for being a part of this conversation, but most importantly, for showing up for yourself. Listening to this podcast isn't just about hearing my story or gathering tools. It's an investment in yourself and your healing journey. And that is powerful. I'm so grateful that you're here, that you're choosing to take steps, no matter how small, toward building a life that feels good for you. Every moment you spend on this work is a testament to your strength and your resilience, even if it doesn't always feel like it. So thank you for giving yourself this gift. I want to leave you with an affirmation that has carried me through some of my darkest days. You have the strength to rebuild, one small step at a time. Now let's say it together. I have the strength to rebuild, one small step at a time. Now pause for a moment and breathe and say it again, out loud or in your mind. This affirmation is your reminder that healing isn't about taking massive leaps all at once. It's about the small, consistent steps you take every day. It's about showing up for yourself even when it's hard and believing in your ability to create change one moment at a time. So carry this with you today. When you're feeling overwhelmed, come back to it. Say it again, because it's true. You do have the strength. I also want to remind you that you don't have to navigate this journey alone. The Rewrite Collective is officially live, and it's a Facebook group where we can grow and connect and share. So whether you're looking for a community, resources, or just a space to feel seen and heard, this group is here for you. You can find it in the link in the podcast bio, and I'd love to see you there. And I know that this community will be just as powerful for you as it has been for me. And before we go, let me give you a little preview of what's coming next week. In episode 4, we're going to dive into finding happiness again. What does happiness look like after you've hit rock bottom? How do you rediscover it in the small, meaningful moments? Well, we're going to explore those questions together and more. And I can't wait to share that conversation with you. Thank you again for being here with me today. Thank you for holding space for these conversations, for yourself, and for this community. Remember, your story isn't over. Every small step you take is a victory, and every time you choose to show up for yourself, you're rewriting your narrative. I'll see you next week for episode 4. Until then, take care of yourself, babe, and remember, you have the strength to rebuild one small step at a time. I love you, and you matter, my friend.